People say I need to be more original promoting my books. So here I am in the middle of a freaking snow field in the Netherlands. Crop circles the evidence, the final blow to skeptics. I myself saw 4 crop circles formed in the last 23 years. So here we go. Gotta put these on. Can't believe I'm doing this. Bloody original though, isn't it? Alrighty. First time happened on Nap Hill, Alton Barnes, England. It was my first year in England as a crop circle researcher. It was 1995. I was going to carry out a night watch on top of the hill together with my fellow researcher Bert Janssen. We had heard that this was a perfect place for a night watch and that many people had seen UFOs from that location. Furthermore, the famous Eastfield was right there at the foot of Nap Hill. It was the field that received the best and most formations each year. We arrived at the foot of the hill at 11 p.m. and started talking with a German who told us that he had seen a ball of light the night before at close range. He described how the light had suddenly started to bounce up and down 3 times, after which it disappeared. When we went over to that spot, we found two small freshly made grass circles. He showed us the circles that were clearly visible at the foot of the hill. Totally excited, we parted and walked the steep path to the top of Nap Hill. Well prepared with sleeping bag and folding chair. Once on top, we fully enjoyed the quiet and warm summer's night. There was no wind, which is highly unusual for the location. After a while, we decided to take turns. Bert would sleep first and I would wake him at 2:30 a.m. Then it would be my turn to sleep and he would be watching the fields and the sky. After approximately 1 hour, I suddenly heard a strong electrostatic crackling sound behind me at a short distance. It was similar to the sound underneath power lines on a foggy day. And then something incredible happened. Instead of reacting normal to the sound, looking behind me, being curious or scared, I did absolutely nothing at all. I felt no need or desire to turn around to see what was causing the sound. I felt utterly happy. Everything was perfect in my perception. I found myself in an ultimate state of bliss. After a while, the sound disappeared, but then it returned. It now had moved to my left side. It kept moving until it was straight in front of me, at no greater distance than 8 or 10 feet. I remained in a state of bliss and heard the same telepathic sentence in my head over and over again, and it said, "Welcome. How wonderful that you're here. How wonderful that we finally meet." I still don't know whether I was the sender or the receiver of the message, which was in English, not in Dutch, my native language. When the sound appeared right in front of me, it became clear that nothing was to be seen. No lights, no ETs, no human beings, no animals, nothing whatsoever. The sound stayed present for approximately an hour. My utter happiness remained constant and the feeling of contact was overwhelming. A wave of unconditional love washed over me. At 2:30 a.m. I woke Bert up, as promised. He asked if anything unusual had happened and I shook my head with a blissful smile. Luckily, after I'd been in the sleeping bag for less than 10 minutes, this sound returned. Bert's reaction wasn't as strange as mine. He experienced no bliss, but neither did he get up to investigate or record the sound. He too didn't feel the urge to do anything. The following morning at 5 a.m, we packed our things and walked down the hill in silence. We were our normal selves again, and we realized how silly our response had been and how strange the entire event had been. Really, my bliss state was gone. At the foot of the hill, we passed the 2 grass circles. To our astonishment, we saw a 3rd circle right next to them, a beautiful little, very fresh grass circle. In our perception, the 2 events, the sound, contact, and the creation of the grass circle, were fully connected. What had happened that night is, so many years later, still not clear to me. I can only say that I had a close encounter with the circle makers, and that it was an encounter that we had agreed upon a long time ago, that we had both intensely yearned for. The feeling of contact that I experienced can only be described as not of this world, pure and loving as I had never experienced before. I will never forget the wave of unconditional love. This experience transformed my entire life in every possible way. I changed as I came to realize to the fullest how conditional people are towards each other, and the role that I played in it personally. I saw with crystal clarity my own arrogance with which I judged people and events, and how easily I labelled everything and everyone. It was as if I'd been shown a mirror, showing me my own prejudices and my preconceived ideas. I was shown the walls around my heart and the narrowness of my horizon. Yet it did not feel judgmental. It was merely an objective observation. The Circle Makers' unconditional love transformed all of this, bit by bit, until everything was different. Me, the world around me, my vision of it, my role in it. It was a love so pure that I felt in my deepest core that this was all I wanted to give to the world from now on. My life would never be the same again after that night in 1995. Buy my book before I freeze my ass off and die.